Hi guys, this is Anna from Kaijus Bites. Today we're doing a review on Storybrook Dining at Artist Point. Artist Point is in Wilderness Lodge. This used to be their signature dining, but they revamped it and now it's a character dining. So it's one table service credit, or about I think $59 per adult and I think $35 for child. They have a pretty impressive cocktail menu, as well as a pretty solid menu. There's a lot of different choices, and you get shared desserts and shared appetizers, and then you pick your own entree. So, we had fun. This place opened I think in mid-December as the new Storybrook Dining. It is a character dining, so you will see Grumpy, Dopey, Snow White, and the Evil Queen, which is nice because there's not a lot of, you don't get to really see a lot of the evil, I shouldn't say evil, just see the villains at character dinings, or really in the parks much at all. So they paced the dinner pretty well, and I have to say, this is probably one of my new favorites. I haven't tried Be Our Guest's new format, but I think this place, is above Be Our Guest in my book. This is the Enchanted apple. It was like vodka and some apple pucker and some other stuff, and then that's Evil to the Core. That's our shrimp appetizer, the wild squash bisque, which was very good. Had a little marshmallow lollipop that you're supposed to stir in. It wasn't bad. I liked it. I could use a bowl of soup right now. And then the hunter's pie, which had like peach compote, but really by itself it was really, really tasty. But I did add some of the compote or preserves or whatever, and it was really good. And Dopey and Grumpy come to your table, which is a lot of fun.
Every fairy tale has a villain, and our story is no different. Lords and ladies, please welcome the Queen.
So for our main entree, I got the veal shank, which was tremendous. The sides are like some wilted greens and celery root mash, which is good. And then Chris got the veal shank, and it came with the side of, I forgot if those are just regular mashed potatoes, carrots, and that little puffy thingy, like it was bread. It was good too. And then desserts. Their desserts are so well presented. I have to say, I think it's kind of a toss-up. I really like the little poison apple. It was really super good. And then I also like the gooseberry pie. The gooseberry pie like kind of reminded me of like apple cobbler a little bit. It was super tasty. And then the miner's treasure, which is just like kind of like a cupcake, but in a thing. And then this was like the heart of that they got, chocolate ganache heart and popcorn. It was super tasty. So in all, we had a really, really fun time. And there's the Evil Queen. She was a little intimidating. Hi guys, it's Anna. So I'm going to do a recap of Storybrook Dining at Artist Point. So I have to say, this is probably one of my new favorite character dinings. It was excellent. Like if you're an adult that's squeamish about going to a character dining, don't be. Go to this one. I feel like the menu was rock solid, and it really, you know, there were a lot of other people there that were older, and I have to say I didn't really feel like some character dinings, yes, there's like 10 million children and you're like, oh my God, I'm in a sea of kids when I just want kind of a quiet, you know, and meal with the characters. But this place was, it had, you know, like Grumpy and Dopey came out and they did some of their little songs, and, you know, the evil queen had a grand entrance. But to be honest, it's I think it's one of the character dinings that, you know, adults, don't be afraid to go. Especially if you're one of those adults that don't like wanting to go to character dining because you feel like there's too many kids, or just don't feel like it's meant for adults. But this one I think is really geared to anybody, really. So I just want to say, so you get to see Grumpy, Dopey, Snow White, and the evil queen, and I put an asterisk. Apparently when we got there, Snow White got sick. You know, it's flu season, whatever. Like, some of the little kids were like really, really heartbroken. I was like, for a moment, I was like, well, damn it, I really wanted to see Snow White. But then I was like, well, we're going to Akershus on Thursday. So I was like a little bit disappointed, but I'm like, well, I'll get to see her anyways. But, you know, so yes, normally, like, in the video, you did not see Snow White, and that's because when we were talking to one of the it was actually the DVC guide, he was like, yeah, I heard she's sick. And, you know, what it is what it is. You know, Disney can save a lot of things, but they can't prevent the flu. So, but to the food, you get a choice of an entree, and you get your appetizers, and everybody gets like a little portion of appetizers for each person. And then you also get your dessert. And for the appetizers, you get the wild squash bisque, which was delicious, I have to say. With it being so freaking cold in Virginia right now, I really wish I had, you know, a big bowl of that bisque. And they gave you, and which I saw like the video, like other review blogs doing this, and like pictures of them with the caramel, like I think it's caramel lollipop, and you're supposed to stir it in the bisque. And I was like, that seems kind of weird, but you know, I ate the bisques by itself, and then I ate, you know, I did stir it around, and it was fine. Like it didn't really add that much to it that I could tell. And then you had the hunter's pies, which were really good. I think earlier in the video I said it was peach, but it says on the menu stone fruit preserve, which I don't really know what that means. And then the wicked shrimp cocktails, and these shrimp were really plump. They worked out before you ate them. They were very delicious, and so that was good. And for cocktails, they had a pretty good cocktail menu, and we didn't get the one that smokes, because like I think it had like it seemed pretty like hardcore, like it was like Jack Daniels with some other stuff, and it seemed a little too strong, and I wanted something a little bit lighter, so I went with the Enchanted Apple, which like I believe had vodka, apple pucker, and cranberry juice, and they rimmed it with like this really pretty golden sugar, and like just in an apple slice, and it was very pretty, and it was really good. It was light and refreshing, nothing too crazy. It wasn't gonna kick you on your butt and get you hungover, but it was really good. Chris got the Evil to the Core, which I don't remember. I think it was tequila and some sort of habanero, and like some sort of juice. And I have to say, like, you could taste the habanero, but it didn't beat you up. Like, so it was a little bit of heat, but it wasn't crazy. But then again, I have like a higher spicy tolerance than some people. So some people might like taste it and it light their mouth on fire. But to me, it didn't really have that much kick to it. And you know, they had some other drinks that I definitely like would want to try next time. But you know, it's like you can only drink and eat so much. So for our entrees, I got the Magic Mirror Slow Braised Veal Shank, and Chris got the Royal Prime Rib Roast. So the prime rib that Chris got was very good. Probably not the like the best, roast he's ever had, but it was good. It was very solid. And I just want to comment, like a lot of the review blogs were talking about how the carrots tasted really funky. Like I guess because they add like a smokiness to the carrots. But when we went that night, they really didn't taste smoky at all. So I don't know if maybe like with all the early bloggers and vloggers commenting about how smoky and weird the carrots taste, maybe they dialed it back, or maybe just like that night the chef didn't add the smoke to it. I have no idea. So just a note, if you've read early reviews about smoky carrots, they didn't really seem that smoky to us that night. And then I got the veal shank. The veal shank was wonderful. It melted like in my mouth, and like I didn't even need the knife. I just cut it with my fork, and it was so soft and so tender. And it came with celery root mash, and to be honest, my face was like, what the hell is celery root mash? But it is what it is. And I have to say, like it wouldn't, like if I had a choice of like cauliflower mash and mashed potatoes and sweet potato mash and celery root mash, celery would be the last choice I'd pick. It didn't taste bad, but it did have like a little bit of like, I don't know if tang is the right word, but it just had, or acidic, but it just had like that little like something weird about it, that it tasted good, but then it's just like at the end you're like, But I mean, it's I don't really know what celery root is. I mean, I'm guessing it's the root of a celery that's been mashed, but I'm no chef. So and then it had some greens. Like in the menu it sounded like substantial, but really when you got it, it was real. You know how greens, you cook 10 pounds of spinach and you get like this much of spinach after you cook it down. So the desserts. So you got same thing with the appetizers. You got like little portions. So the miner's treasure was just basically sponge cake with like icing, and it was really cute. I think that was, I mean, all the desserts were super cute. That one was probably my least favorite. I'm like, eh. The gooseberry pie was really good. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like apple cobbler with like a crumb topping. It was super good. And then they had the poison apple. So the poison apple was probably my favorite. I usually don't like sour, but it was good. I don't really think it was that sour. It's not like biting into like what are those, like a lemon head or those like sour tart fruit candies. It had a good taste. I enjoyed it. And then you got like, the waiter comes with the box that's smoking again. Like smoke is a really big theme in this restaurant. And so he opened it up and it smoked all over the place. And then he like spoons out caramel popcorn and these two little ganache hearts. It's supposed to be like, the fake heart that, that the hunter tricked the queen with. So, it was good. I mean, it's just caramel popcorn, so it's nothing like crazy. But the ganache hearts were pretty tasty. Don't remember what they tasted like because I just ate it and moved on. But it was still good. So, I have to say, like, this probably is one of my favorite character dinings, even though, like, Snow White for me as a child was not, like, my favorite. I mean, I enjoyed it, but, like, my favorite is Aurora and Belle. But I have to say that even without Snow White that night, I mean, Dopey and Grumpy were so fantastic. The evil queen, so note, like, Grumpy and Dopey will come to your table. They, and they go around and then they'll take a break and then they'll do like, they'll come out and oh, I forgot the atmosphere. Like they have these lights and the lights are very in tune, and if you see in the video, you'll see that they change, and it's really fantastic. I really like that effect. And so, and so Grumpy and Dopey come to each of your tables, and actually we were kind of like, I think we were a little caught off guard because we thought that they were like still at a table, then we look up and like Grumpy is like giving, I mean not Grumpy, it was Dopey. Dopey was like giving Chris a hug and we were like, oh, you know. So they will come to each table. Now, it's supposed to be and that after you finish your dinner, you get to go see the evil queen, and then you get to take pictures with her. But because we were like one of the last few tables of the night, like she was going to leave for the night. So what they did was they're like, you know, if you want to take a picture with the evil queen, go right now. You don't have to wait till your check or wherever, the end of your meal. So we went up, you know, she's intimidating. she's good. But yeah, so, you know, we had a good meal. It was definitely a lot of fun. I think the only thing I could probably say about the character dining at Artist Point is the check-in is like you're about to round the corner, but the check-in is like right there. And we didn't like it wasn't like Ohana where we waited like 30 minutes. Like we waited maybe 10 minutes and then our table was ready. And I don't know if maybe like the night wasn't as packed or if that's like a norm. But I mean, we definitely had a lot of fun. We had good service. You know, we were on the dining plan, so everything that night, we just had to pay for tip. We didn't get anything extra that night that wouldn't be part of the meal. It is $55 for adult, or no, I think it's $59. I think the website says $59.99, and I think for children it's like $35. So, you know, I think for the quality of the meal, it's good. I think it actually matches its price point. It's not like Akershu's. Well, the breakfast. I've never been to Akershu's for dinner. But I think definitely it gets 4.5 kaiju bites out of 5. I definitely will want to go back, and it was a lot of fun. So until next time, hit subscribe, like the video, share it, and I'll see you until next time. Bye.